How Elon Musk turned failure into billions. Hook, 00 to 025. Imagine putting millions of dollars into a company and watching rocket after rocket explode. Imagine investing almost everything you have into a dream that most people think is completely crazy. Now imagine that instead of quitting, you keep going. That's part of the story of Elon Musk. But here's the question. How did a man who experienced enormous failures eventually build companies worth hundreds of billions of dollars? The answer isn't simply luck. It starts with how he viewed failure. Part 1. The beginning, 025 to 110. Long before Elon Musk became one of the world's richest people, he was already obsessed with technology and business. He became involved in companies such as Zip2 and later X.com, which eventually became part of PayPal. These businesses gave Musk something more valuable than money, capital to take bigger risks. And that's exactly what he did. Instead of simply protecting his wealth, Musk put much of it into ambitious projects. One of them was SpaceX. His goal? To make spaceflight cheaper and eventually help make humanity a multi-planetary civilization. To many people, that sounded unrealistic. But Musk wasn't interested in what sounded realistic. He was interested in what he believed was possible. Part 2. When everything started going wrong, 110 to 215. Then came the failures. SpaceX's first 3. Falcon 1 launches failed. 3 attempts, 3 failures. And these weren't small failures. They represented enormous amounts of money, engineering effort, and time. After the 3rd failure, SpaceX was in a very dangerous position. Musk had already invested heavily in the company, and there was only so much money left. But instead of saying, "This isn't working," he asked a different question. What went wrong and how do we fix it? That difference is incredibly important. Failure wasn't treated as the end of the mission, it became information. The engineers learned from each launch, they changed designs, they corrected problems, they tried again. And on September 28, 2008, SpaceX finally achieved a successful Falcon 1 launch. That single success changed everything. SpaceX had demonstrated that its approach could work, and suddenly what looked like a ridiculous dream didn't look so ridiculous anymore. Part 3. Tesla, 215 to 310. But SpaceX wasn't Musk's only battle. Tesla was also fighting for survival. At the time, electric vehicles were nowhere near as dominant as they are today. Tesla faced production problems, financial pressure, and enormous skepticism. And Musk was simultaneously dealing with the problems at SpaceX. In 2008, both companies were under tremendous pressure. Musk later described that period as extremely difficult. Yet something remarkable happened. SpaceX secured a NASA contract. Tesla also managed to survive. Those breakthroughs gave both companies the opportunity to continue, and over the following years, Tesla grew dramatically. The company helped push electric vehicles from a niche technology into the mainstream automotive conversation. Meanwhile, SpaceX continued developing reusable rockets, and that became another major breakthrough. Instead of throwing away expensive rocket hardware after every launch, SpaceX developed rockets that could land and be reused. That changed the economics of spaceflight. Part 4. The real secret, 310 to 415. So what was the secret? Was Elon Musk simply lucky? Was he simply smarter than everyone else? The reality is more complicated. One of the biggest ideas associated with Musk is first principles thinking. Instead of accepting, that's just how things are done, he tries to break a problem down into its fundamental components. For example, instead of asking, how much does a rocket normally cost? The question becomes, what are the actual materials and processes required to build this rocket? That way of thinking can reveal possibilities that conventional thinking misses. But there's another lesson. Musk repeatedly accepted enormous risk. That doesn't mean every risk he took was correct. It means he was willing to risk failure in pursuit of something he considered important. And that's where many people misunderstand successful entrepreneurs. They don't necessarily avoid failure. Sometimes they simply learn how to survive it. Part 5. The billions came later, 415 to 445. Here's the part many people get backwards. Elon Musk didn't become extremely wealthy because he started by chasing billions of dollars. Much of his wealth came from ownership stakes in companies whose values increased dramatically: Tesla, SpaceX, and other ventures. The companies grew, his ownership became enormously valuable. So the billions were largely the result of building and owning valuable businesses rather than simply earning a huge salary. Think wisely.